What if I told you that you already know how to fly? That everything preventing you from taking off is not outside, but inside your mind? Perhaps the wings you're looking for are already there, just waiting for you to trust them. The truth is that the freedom you seek is not about conquering something new, but about seeing what is already in you. And when you realize that, your mind will never be the same again. In this video, we're going to turn your mind inside out and reveal what's holding you back. And more importantly, how to free yourself to finally live without limits. Get ready, because after this, nothing will ever be the same. You know that feeling that something is missing? Like you're living with the brakes on, waiting for a special moment or some miraculous ability to finally be who you really are? You may feel like that sometimes, as if you're in waiting mode, waiting for the wings that will one day make you fly. But what if I told you they were already there? What if you already had everything you needed and just didn't realize it? Sometimes we spend so much time looking for a key that we don't even realize the door is already unlocked. The truth is that we've been taught to believe that we need something more. More confidence, more knowledge, more time. But that's just an illusion. The extra you think you're missing is actually a mental block. The skills to take flight, in other words, to free yourself from standards, other people's expectations and imposed limitations, have always been with you. You are neither broken nor incomplete. You are whole. You just need to recognize it. What happens is that we often expect external validation to move, as if we needed the world's permission to fly. But permission is internal, and only you can give it. It's like a bird that has spent its whole life inside a cage. One day the door opens, but it doesn't come out. He's forgotten what it's like to live outside those bars. His mind has been conditioned to believe that he needs those bars to survive. We do the same. We create invisible limits for ourselves and believe them to be absolute truths. But what if I told you that the cage never really existed? Just like the bird, you no longer need to get used to captivity. The way out has always been there, ready for you. All you have to do is take the first step, even if you're not sure where it will lead. It's not about perfection. It's about trusting in who you already are. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, without realizing that the perfect moment is now, because it's the only one that exists. The first flight is awkward, I know. It can feel like you're going to crash at any moment. But that's when you realize that even without having rehearsed it, your wings are ready to support you. They were with you all along. It's not about becoming someone else or looking for something outside. It's about realizing that you are already enough, and always have been. And this realization changes everything, because when you understand that you've always had wings, fear begins to lose its grip. And that's when the question arises that inevitably makes you rethink your whole journey so far. If the wings were already there from the beginning, then why wasn't I flying yet? So if the wings were there all along, why is it so difficult to take flight? The answer may be hidden in something more subtle and powerful than we realize. Fear. Fear is a master illusionist. It makes us believe that we need more security, more guarantees, and more control before taking any steps. But the truth is that fear, more often than not, isn't real. It's a creation of our mind to keep us in our comfort zone. It whispers to you that you're not ready, that something will go wrong, or that it's not the right time. And you believe it, as if it were an absolute truth. The curious thing is that fear isn't trying to harm you. It's just doing its job, protecting you from risks. The problem is that the mind doesn't know how to distinguish between real and imaginary danger. Your body reacts to a difficult conversation or a change in life just as strongly as it would to a wild animal on the prowl. This paralyzes you, and that flight that seemed possible soon turns into doubt and resistance. But fear only has power as long as you don't face it. When you look at it with awareness, you realize that it is a mirror that distorts reality, not an insurmountable wall. Everyone feels fear. The greatest sages and spiritual leaders have faced their own inner monsters. The difference is not in eliminating fear, but in knowing that it doesn't have to be the captain of your boat. Sometimes fear even takes the passenger seat, but you're still in control of the steering wheel. You can feel the anxiety hitting hard and still go ahead. The key is to understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but movement in spite of it. If you wait for fear to disappear before you act, you'll wait forever. It only dissolves in movement. Action is like a strong wind that blows away the fog and makes you see the path ahead. It can be a small step, making an important choice, starting something new, or simply saying a yes from within. And each small step creates space for more confidence. Fear gets smaller every time you act, and you soon realize that it was never as powerful as it seemed. It was just a trick of the mind. And when fear loses its power, you start to ask yourself, so if nothing is really stopping me, how can I find the freedom that is already available? The first step is to learn to tune your frequency to this new energy, the vibration of someone who is ready to live a new reality. Everything in the universe is energy. Every thought, emotion, and intention you generate vibrates at a specific frequency. When you live in tune with a low frequency, feeding on fear, doubt, or guilt, it's like trying to fly with the wind against you. But when you align yourself with higher vibrations, such as trust, gratitude, and clarity, everything around you starts to move in the same direction. Flying, in this case, is not an effort. It's a natural consequence of who you become. Think about it. Do you know when you feel inspired, light, and motivated? In those moments, things seem to flow almost magically. Opportunities appear, the right people cross your path, and the answers you've been looking for suddenly appear. Just as a radio station needs to be adjusted to play clear music, you need to adjust your energy to attract what you want to experience. Life responds to what you emanate. This alignment begins with awareness. What are you feeding yourself right now? It's easy to fall into autopilot and let yourself be consumed by negative thoughts. Sometimes we get so caught up in worries and internal criticisms that we don't even realize the impact this has on our energy. That's why it's essential to reconnect with the present moment and observe your own patterns. Are you vibrating on the frequency of scarcity or abundance, doubt or certainty, fear or confidence? There are simple ways to raise your frequency on a daily basis. Gratitude is one of the most powerful. By giving thanks, even for the little things, you shift your focus from what is lacking to what already exists. And this shift activates a vibration of contentment and openness. Meditation, conscious breathing, and positive affirmations also help to clear the internal noise and bring clarity. These practices remind you of who you really are, a complete being connected to a greater energy that has always been there for you. When you start to feel this frequency inside you, something curious happens. The reality around you begins to change. Problems that once seemed heavy lose their force. People with low vibrations naturally drift away, while new, more aligned connections come your way. It's not that the world has changed overnight, it's that you've changed the way you perceive it. The right attunement makes everything flow naturally, and when the energy starts to move in your favor, you realize that everything has actually been guiding you all along. Little signs, unexpected coincidences, meaningful encounters, everything is part of the same invisible symphony. And this is when you understand that the universe is always talking to you. You just have to learn to listen. There comes a time when you realize that the biggest battle has always been inside your mind. It's not the outside world that stops you flying, but the stories you've told yourself and believed. It's those silent beliefs ingrained over the years that whisper, "I'm not enough. I don't have what it takes. What if it goes wrong?" These ideas become invisible walls that surround you. To break free, you need to turn your mind inside out, reframing these beliefs and transforming them into solid foundations for a new reality. A limiting belief is nothing more than a distorted interpretation of a past experience. Perhaps at some point you tried something and failed, and since then, your mind has decided that you're not good enough. Or maybe someone planted the seed of doubt when you were younger, and that seed grew, taking deep root. But here's the truth. What happened in the past doesn't define who you are now. And every time you relive those stories, you're just carrying around baggage that you no longer need. Reframing these beliefs starts with awareness. What stories have you been telling yourself that prevent you from moving forward? Make a list, look at them without judgment, and ask yourself, is this true? Or is it just an interpretation that I've accepted without question? Often, when you question these narratives, you realize that they no longer have any power. They were just a reflection of who you were at the time, not who you are now. As well as questioning, you can rewrite these beliefs. For example, if you carry the idea that you're not capable, try transforming it into, I can learn everything I need to at my own pace. If you believe that it will never work out, replace it with, everything happens at the right time and I trust the process. The mind is like a garden. What you plant and nurture will grow. And by consciously choosing which ideas to cultivate, you change the foundation on which your life is built. This internal transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of repetition, of constant practice, just like the act of flying. But every time you exchange a limiting belief for a new possibility, you strengthen your wings. Little by little, the mind becomes fertile ground, where challenges cease to be obstacles and become stepping stones to climb higher. What once imprisoned you becomes fuel for growth. And it is precisely in this process of reprogramming that you begin to realize something fascinating. The universe responds according to what you believe is possible. Synchronicities become more frequent, as if invisible winds were blowing in your favor, leading you to the next step. At some point in the journey, you begin to realize that nothing is really random. Seemingly unconnected things fit together like pieces of a puzzle. An unexpected message, a meeting at just the right moment, or even a song that comes on the radio when you most need to hear it. This is synchronicity, the way the universe talks to you. They are like invisible winds blowing in the right direction, showing you that even when you think you are lost, there is a greater order guiding you every step of the way. These signs are always out there, but we can only see them when our inner frequency aligns with the flow of life. When you are disconnected, stuck in thoughts of scarcity, fear, or doubt, everything seems dense and difficult. But as soon as you raise your vibration, something magical happens. You open up to see the subtle connections that previously went unnoticed. Life begins to flow in a way that seems impossible by coincidence. Imagine yourself sailing the high seas. If you don't pay attention to the winds, you'll be rowing against the current, wasting energy for nothing. But if you learn to feel and follow the flow, the path becomes easier, almost as if nature itself were in your favor. Synchronicity works in the same way. It invites you to trust. To understand that even if you don't see the whole path ahead, the next step will always reveal itself at the right moment. Synchronicity often comes in the form of small confirmations. You think of someone and they send you a message. An idea you had suddenly comes up in a random conversation. It's as if the universe is telling you, yes, you're on the right track. These moments are not flukes. They are reminders that you are being guided. And the more you trust, the more these signs appear, leading you lightly to where you need to be. The key is to learn to listen and follow these subtle winds, even if they don't always make immediate sense. It may be that an unexpected path opens up, or that an obstacle appears just to redirect you. What seems like a silly coincidence is often the universe pushing you to a place where you need to be, even if you don't understand why at the moment. And the more you tune into these signs, the more life starts to become a dance where the next step never needs to be forced, just followed. And when you trust this flow, you realize that sometimes, to get further, you just have to let go of the rudder and let yourself go. As we prepare to take the next step on our journey, we often come up against a dilemma that manifests itself in our hearts. Trust. Trust may seem like an act of bravery, an adventure with no guarantees, but in fact, it is the essence that allows us to truly fly. Here, we'll explore the idea that we often need to leap into the void before we even see the ground. What does that really mean? The answer can be transformative. Imagine a bird about to leave its nest. With its wings ready, it doesn't hesitate to jump. The impulse to jump is driven by the innate confidence that its body knows movement, that its wings were made to fly. That's how we are. Each of us carries within us an intuitive wisdom, a deep understanding that we are capable of achieving incredible things. However, insecurity and fear can paralyze us, making us question whether we are really ready. Let's talk about how these feelings can anchor us to the ground. Often, the human mind, full of stories and limitations, convinces us that we need to be sure before we act. But what does being sure really mean? What if true certainty only comes after the leap? When we decide to trust the process of life, we make room for new opportunities and experiences. Trust is not about ignoring challenges. It's actually about embracing uncertainty with the certainty that each step taken, even those that seem risky, will lead us to where we need to be. Here, we can recall moments in our lives when trust has been tested. Think about the last time you had to make an important decision without knowing if it would work out. How did you feel in that moment of uncertainty? Often, the energy that pushes us forward comes from the courage to take a step, even when we don't have a clear map in front of us. This courage is a way of activating our invisible wings, allowing life to guide us, just like the air currents that sustain a bird in flight. What's more, when we jump into the void, we open the door to discovery. By trusting ourselves, we can explore unknown territories, where magic and transformation happen. These moments are essential because they reveal parts of us that we might never have known if we stayed within our comfort zone. Life becomes a dance of self-knowledge and growth, where each leap teaches us something new. And while we're talking about this confidence, it's important to remember that we're not alone in this process. When we decide to jump, we not only connect with our own strength, but we also open ourselves up to connecting with others. The stories of confidence of others who have also dared to fly can serve as inspiration and encouragement. This support network, this community of souls who have already learned to fly, helps us realize that we are not alone. As we look to the sky and see other birds in flight, we are reminded that confidence is a collective movement, a symphony of courage and achievement. So, as this part of our journey draws to a close, I invite you to reflect on a leap that needs to be taken. What is holding you back? What happens if you decide to trust and fly before you see the ground? You already have the wings you need. All you have to do is take the first step. And remember, every leap is an opportunity, a chance to discover not only what's out there, but also what's inside you. This is the moment to trust, to jump into the void and let life surprise you. In this way, we make room for the true freedom that comes from within. Throughout our journey towards freedom and self-discovery, a powerful truth reveals itself. You are not alone. In the vast sky of life, there are many other birds who, like you, have also learned to fly. This connection, this sense of belonging to a community of courageous souls, is fundamental to our evolution. In this segment, we'll explore the beauty and strength that arise when we unite with others who share the same quest for freedom and authenticity. Firstly, it's essential to recognize that everyone's journey is unique, but the experiences and challenges we face are often intertwined. As we look around us, we realize that there is a group of people who are also challenging their own limitations, jumping into the void and testing the waters of trust. These individuals may be friends, family members, or even strangers who cross our path, but they all have something in common: the will to fly, to expand their horizons, and to live with purpose. When we connect with these individuals, we create a support network that propels us even higher. Think of the strength that comes from sharing your insecurities and victories. Through vulnerability, we establish deep and meaningful bonds. A simple outburst about the difficulties we face in pursuing our dreams can reveal that many others are also struggling with the same feelings. This exchange creates a safe environment where everyone feels understood and encouraged to continue their flight. Now imagine the impact that can arise when these voices come together. When several souls come together for a common purpose, something magical happens. The collective energy intensifies, and synchronicities begin to appear more frequently. A seemingly solitary idea turns into a collaborative project. A personal dream expands into a collective vision. The community becomes a space where everyone can learn from each other, where the success of one becomes an inspiration to all. What's more, meeting others who have also learned to fly reminds us that the journey is not just about ourselves. Each of us has a role to play in the great tapestry of life. When we help others raise their own vibrations, we create a cycle of support that enriches everyone. You can be a beacon for someone who is struggling to find their wings. This exchange of support and love is what turns loneliness into community, competition into collaboration. As we explore this idea of community, it's also important to talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who raise your frequency. On our path, we will encounter individuals who may not share the same spirit of flight. These interactions, although challenging, are valuable learning opportunities. They help us to distinguish between those who encourage us to fly and those who, because of their own limitations, may try to keep us on the ground. True growth happens when we learn to consciously choose who we surround ourselves with. Finally, as you reflect on your journey, remember that you are part of a wider network of souls in search of freedom. This is an invitation to open your heart and mind to these connections. Don't hesitate to seek out others who are also ready to fly. Join groups, communities, or even search online for people who share your interests and dreams. The sky is full of potential flight companions, ready to join you on your journey. The beauty of flying is even richer when experienced together. The laughs, the stories, the victories, and even the challenges become lighter when shared. So take that step. Search, connect, and fly together with those who have also learned to embrace freedom. Remember, you are not alone in the sky. There is a community of flyers waiting to join you, creating a space where everyone can thrive and realize their true potential. Together, we can fly higher and farther, exploring horizons that alone we could never imagine reaching. As we end our journey together, remember, you already have the wings you need to fly. Freedom, connection, and trust are inside you, waiting for the right moment to be released. Every step you take, every leap into the void, is an affirmation of your strength and ability to transcend. And as you continue to explore this vast sky of life, know that you are not alone. We are all on this quest for authenticity and purpose together. If this video resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Your presence here is essential, and we want to continue this journey side by side. Leave a like, share this video with those who also need a powerful reminder about their own wings, and don't hesitate to comment below with your reflections or experiences. We thank you very much for watching to the end. Your energy and support make all the difference. Remember, the world needs your flight. Let's go together.